I'm Mirella.
And I'm Zoe.
Welcome to the Critical Obsession podcast. Today we're going to react to episode 2 of Cooking Crush, and also we're going to talk about episode 1.
Yes, because we didn't get a chance to last week. So we're going to do it now. And then we're going to go and watch episode 2, which I'm super excited about. What did you think overall about episode 1?
It was cute.
Yeah.
The jokes were surprisingly funny to me. A lot of them. They landed.
I know there was a couple that amused you even a couple of days later, which I thought was really cute.
I keep thinking about al dente. The delivery was great.
I feel like if a show does that, because let's face it, this is kind of like a slapstick comedy, which is not really normally my sort of thing. But I feel like if they do it well, then it's funny. And if you're still laughing about something later on, or you think about it and it makes you smile or whatever, then it's a success as far as I'm concerned, honestly.
And it's also not meant to be taken seriously because of the type of the comedy.
Yeah.
Because some characters, the way they behave, like for example, the blonde guy who bought all the meatballs, he's an idiot, but it's a comedy. I'm not sure really judge him.
Well, I'm assuming the fact that they're causing a conflict between it's going to take us a while to get these names, I reckon. Well, when I say us, I mean me. It's going to take me a while to get these names. I think the one that is Pram's friend is Unky, something like that is his name. The chef friend, but I don't remember what the meatball guy's name is. He's gonna be like the meatball guy, the pork crumbed pork balls. Isn't it funny that I remember that it's crumb pork balls, but I can't remember his name? What does that say? I must have been hungry when I was watching the episode because I remember that much. They looked really good, I will say that. But anyway, the fact that they've had some sort of conflict maybe makes me think that they might delve into their characters a little bit more. It's hard to know because this is, as I said, this is not sort of the show I would normally watch in terms of the comedy aspect of it. That being said, we know it's written by someone who's really good. She worked on Not Me. And so I'm expecting it to have more depth than maybe a show like this would normally have. And the fact we have actually seen hints of that, you know what I mean? They're giving us glimpses of it in the first episode even, that there are depths, especially to OffGun's characters. So curious to see how they go with it. And the animations and the little weird sound effects and stuff that I'm not used to are kind of the first time that it happened, I was like, oh, what's going on? But then I was just like, it adds to the joke, it adds to the humor, so it's definitely interesting. And of course you never know when they're going to do it, which was also kind of funny too. So when the episode started and we saw the black figure in the background running, I was like, that has to be off, right? But then I also thought, he looks really tall and skinny, and I thought, nah, it's not him. But of course Off is kind of tall and skinny, so but it was really funny because of course when we saw that scene, and then you see the scene where they come together at the market, and then later on again, and then we see a scene with them as kids, and we keep seeing all these little bits through the episode. And I was thinking about it, and I'm like, they're faded. It's like a faded pairing, I guess, because of the way they keep they've been crossing paths forever, essentially, which I thought was really, really cool. And the other thing is that I noticed on my second watch of this is the scene that we get at the beginning of the episode where Prem is talking about what he wants to do and everything. And he remembers this little kid that wanted pizza, and so he made pork fried toast, or I don't know, something like that. Is it? Yeah, I'm remembering the food. This is being very revealing about my personality right now. And
This
which is
series is
obviously
gonna make everyone hungry.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
right? I ate food before I started watching because I just rewatched episode 1, for those listening, and I ate dinner before I did that, and, like, while I was watching it, I reached for, like, snacks, and then now talking about it, I'm thinking, like, about food, and it's not early here, it's late here, so the fact that I'm thinking about food at this time after I've eaten basically, like, twice is yeah, this show is gonna make people hungry.
Mhm.
Um but I noticed on the second watch of this scene with the like young Prem and what is, obviously going to be 10, is when I saw it the first time, I heard the father's voice and he seemed unhappy and everything. But you did, when it's kind of panned away, and I did notice there was like a woman sitting at the table.
Mhm.
So we had some theory discussions, and I know there was some stuff going around on Twitter and on Tumblr and stuff um about, you know this mysterious woman that is going to pop up in this. But my initial, like, I guess in my mind I had this, like, I had built a story about, like, what I thought was happening in that scene, because he was, didn't want to be there. He wanted, I mean, obviously he wanted to eat something different. He seemed kind of like less than impressed, and um we get to see this kind of interaction with his father that, lends itself to not a great relationship. And so
Mhm.
I saw it in that kind of way, but now it's a bit different because I did see that there was a female person there, which I'm assuming was his mother. um but I don't know. So I thought that was interesting because I had, like, had this preconceived idea about, like, what that scene was, and what that moment was, like, where he first tries um Prem's food.
I think it's pretty clear already that food is meant to represent happiness,
Mm.
and Bram wants to give happiness to people, and Tan needs this happiness. And also, it's interesting how he denied himself food, which, yeah, we talked about,
Yeah,
like,
about him
like
denying
him,
himself happiness.
yes, but also him denying to share this happiness with his father, denying to sit at the table with him,
Mm.
and at the same time the father denying him his own happiness, like, you cannot eat today at all if you don't eat with me, like, if you don't want it my way, then you're not going to have it your oh
Yeah,
your
which which is kind of like, feel like we're gonna see in the show, because I mean, like, does he, I think the father is a doctor as well, maybe, I can't remember. I don't know why I think that, but it's like, I feel like this is maybe not necessarily like what he wants to do, but like this is his life
Mhm.
because he has no choice.
Yeah.
And so that is literally like, he has, like, so I feel like in these moments where he does have the will to kind of like, I guess, uh push against the boundaries, then that's what he does. He's also really, like, his friends try and get him to eat as well, and he refuses that too. So he refuses that happiness to sharing food with his friends too. um but they are trying to encourage him, but he is sticking by his words, which he says his father doesn't do. So there's definitely some like issues there, and some past, like, drama, to do with, someone not basically being true, or keeping their word. Um, and I thought it was really interesting, actually, the way we had, like, this really cute family scene with Prem and his sister and his grandmother, and then it went to the scene where, like, the father was trying to have a meal with 10, and it was so cold. Like, it was such a different, like,
Hmm.
vibe. It was like almost like kind of a little bit like Whiplash. It was so different. Um and oh, I saw this on Twitter. I never even noticed it the first time I watched it, but it was so glaringly obvious to me on the rewatch. The little figurine from Not Me in the cupboard,
Oh, yes.
the little dinosaur figurine. I wonder if we're gonna, because, as I say once again, because P Nulik, I think is how you say her name, worked on Not Me with OffGun, and of course we've got Black and White's father is playing Ten's father in this. I wonder if we're gonna get if there'll be any other little kind of like Easter eggs from Not Me. It's quite funny actually. It'll be like spot the stuff. I loved all the little cute stuff we had at the market between them with the onion and the like Prem asking for the hom to hom his hand or whatever because he wanted the onion back. And he was like, oh, but we've just met. And he was all like nervous but like gave him his hand and he's like, no, I want the onion in your hand. I thought that was really cute and funny. And of course we got
Yeah,
the
hands.
cultural
Kiss your
significance of
hand.
that after we saw a post on
Mhm.
Twitter,
Mm.
which was good.
I thought about the bullies.
Yes.
The class, yeah. So the first time we watched it, we wondered why they wanted to bully um the losers of the class, basically, because they're the worst. They've been the worst at everything up until now.
Mm.
And the saleswoman told us at the beginning that, with the worm and everything, that everyone knows they've been studying for 3 whole years, and this is the first time they have a real cooking class. This is
Mm.
the first time they actually do what they're supposed to do. So I think the bullies are feeling threatened because they probably feel the force of passion behind Prem's desire to cook, and plus they know that he is already working. He has this
Yeah.
business. His grandma has this business, and they even know that it's there is some trouble, which means that it's a place people go to. And the bullies didn't like the drawing, but they knew what it was. They understood that it was coconut milk curry,
Mm.
even though it was awful. They knew what it was. They had a very pretty drawing, but they still felt the need to go to the
Mm.
losers and
I
make them
wonder
feel worse.
I wonder if that particular recipe will be something that maybe is made at the grandmother's restaurant and that's why they were threatened and that's why they assumed that they would make that, because that's kind of where I thought they might have got that. That could be why they also assumed that it would be made and why it
Mm,
might be a threat.
hmm Well,
So
yeah, he did make it for his sister and grandma to check.
mm. I want to go back to the scene that you were talking about in the market where the
Hmm
like the banter with the shopkeeper, where basically she was giving him a bunch of shit, like about
hmm
the fact that oh, it's finally happening, and like, oh,
hmm
but hey, maybe you'll be crap at it. Kind of was basically what
hmm
she said, and I love how he just destroyed her.
hmm
Like in response, like he was so sassy and like rude, but like in a really intelligent kind of way. I had like full on Salom from Dangerous Romance, like early Salom moment when he was just like, "Oh, you work here, blah blah blah. Maybe you should be a speechwriter or something instead, because you surely have a lot to say." Like he was just, I really thought that was really funny, and I was like, "This
I
is
guess about him. I like the
yeah."
sassiness of him.
I do too, and I loved the bit as well. Like when you were talking about the bit in the classroom where they were being mocked for their drawing and all the rest of it, and we got the joke, the al dente joke that you like, where Prem shoved the crumpled paper in his mouth, in the chef's mouth, in retaliation, but then just like lost his shit and started like ranting, and his friends had to like drag him away. I was just like, I think I'm really enjoying this like side of him. It's really
Role.
interesting.
hmm
Mm.
This role for Gun, I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, same.
And what we're supposed to get is that Ten is already predesmitten by Prem.
That's what
There
it's
she
looking like.
looks. He's given him like he's like, oh, cute guy wants to kiss my hand, but like, how can I say no?
Well, it's so funny as well because in that first scene, like when Prem finally gets the onion back, he's like, "What a weirdo," basically.
hmm
And meanwhile, you've got off in the background as Ten being all like, "Pretty boy spoke to me."
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's so funny. And then, of course, after the moment I was talking before, where Governor's like losing his shit and his friends drag him away, they end up at the medical canteen, and because Di or Dynamite has a crush on Ten's friend Fire, played
Claire.
by Neo. And so there's a whole little bit like that, but then there's this moment, and we were talking about as well. I think it's Unki. I think that's how you say his name. Unki. I'm gonna go with Unki. It's probably wrong. We're gonna watch episode 2, and I'm gonna be so embarrassed. Um, but if you've been listening for a while, you know names are not my thing. But we had that whole. We talked about the scene between them and the fried pork balls or whatever they were, while their friends are like doing death stares at each other because of like food. You have this moment between Prem and Ten, and oh my god, this was the cutest friggin' thing ever. I died so much when I was watching that. I was just like, oh, when they look at it, it was just I have no words. I literally just wrote the scene where they look at each other is just so, oh my god.
And also, yeah, I was so mad to see that it was cut out.
Oh yes,
The cut
it is a shame.
version was not there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it once again.
Frustrating as fuck.
Sorry.
Frustrating as fuck.
Oh yeah, but once again, it's one more scene that shows, as I said before, that they are constantly, or have been for a really long time, crossing each other's paths without not always knowing. And then this is like, I felt like, to me, this was an acknowledgement, the first like acknowledgement that they both made, because even the bit at the market, like Prem was preoccupied. He was just like, what a weirdo. But this moment, like, he kind of smiles at 10 first. And then they have this whole, and it's so interesting as well, because Ten's character is like, he's got this whole like safe mode, like he's activated his safe mode because he has no energy, because he hasn't eaten, and he's like starving and so tired, and all the rest of it. I think at this point he's like pushed a bus. He's like he's done CPR, which is hard shit if you've ever had to do a course.
Maybe he was in safe mode. He was not allowing himself to leave, really. And now that finally he has been fed, he can leave, and now he can actually observe, like,
he's been activated.
Advanced. Yes, he's activated, and they do acknowledge it in between the characters, actually, when Ten tells him he's a medical student, and they both have been there for 3 years, and Prem's like, how come I've never seen you? And Ten is like, maybe it was not the time. So it's kind of, they acknowledge that it is that they had to meet at some point, and it finally happened.
Well, I'm also wondering if we might not get an acknowledgement of, like, it's clear to me, at least anyway, that like Gun's character is just now like noticing him, obviously because of the stuff that's happening. As far as he's aware, I think the meeting at the market is the first time. But I wonder if we're going to find out that 10 has been aware of him for longer. But as you said,
has been watching him. Yes, and this would explain why his hand was trembling.
Yeah.
And why his smart was like kiss related and not onion related. Even though like he was smitten, he was like embarrassed. He was like, yeah,
he just picked up an onion and was holding it, but he just assumed kiss. Yeah,
he forgot about the onion because Prem was in front of him talking to him.
Because kissing was already on his mind, right? Yeah, because that's what I wanted as well. But because he's so busy, because he's so because I had a friend when I was doing nursing, they were at med school, and he'd been in love with this girl for like forever, since high school. They'd been best friends, whatever. She was like so down to date, and he was like, I'm not going to have any time for her. It's not fair, blah, blah, blah. So he was like basically kind of just ignoring this like thing that was between them. And they did eventually sort of end up dating and get together and everything. But like, I wonder if this is like Ten's mode as well. Like he's like so, like he just has no energy for it. But then when, as you said, when Prem is like right in front of him, and then after that happens, he keeps ending up right in front of him. And I guess it's different if you like someone or you're watching someone and they're unaware of you and you're not actually having interactions, but then you start having interactions, and once you get a taste of that, and like I'm gonna use I'm using, pardon the pun, um metaphors, taste,
Yep.
but once you get a taste of that, it's really hard to go back to like being at a distance, because suddenly it's like the world has lit up, and that's essentially like what we see with the animations and stuff. Yes, it's the whole joke with the food and everything, but he's just like it all of a sudden, like, there's colors, everything is, all of the flavors are like these cute little cartoon things around him. Like it's just he's so immersed in the world all of a sudden after being just a like essentially a zombie or a like a robot who's been, in safe mode. So it's
Yep.
the scene in the canteen when they look at each other, it's like it's I thought it was really cool as well as like really sweet because he's so engaged, like he's so like just like he notices him well. The fact that he's like barely got his eyes open for like when his friend's talking to him and everything, but as soon as he sort of catches, Prem out the corner of his eye, he's like he's awake, he's there, he's present, and it was just very, very cool.
Yes.
The bit is really funny because Prem, when he got into trouble again for like feeding Prem the food and feeding Ten the food and everything, and his friends were like saying, "Oh, if I meet that man, blah blah blah," and he says it's better not to meet that man again. And I'm like, well, ultimately, he's guaranteeing that he's definitely going to meet him again. It's like, when you say, "Oh, this better not happen," or never say, when you say never, all those sorts of things. I'm just like, but yeah, it's really, really good. And for those who haven't watched yet, the episode ends basically with Ten begging Prem to teach him to cook. And I was like really I kind of got really I loved the scene as well, sorry, they where he comes to him at night again in the like I guess the classroom cooking the classroom kitchen like area, and tries again to get him to teach him, and Prem is feeling so like
I don't know.
useless, I guess, like um he's starting to feel a bit like an epic failure, even though he,
Oh yeah, yeah.
because he just can't do anything right, and he's saying,
Now even the compliments, he doubts them.
yeah,
He
like
doubts
he said,
himself,
yeah, he says to, yeah, that's right, he
questioning
says to
everything. Yeah.
Ten, you only enjoyed it because you were hungry, like kind of thing. And
Mm-hmm.
he says, I'm not saying no to teaching you because you're a jinx essentially, but I'm saying no because I'm not like worthy, basically, is what he's saying. I'm not qualified to teach you anything. um so that was really, I really liked that he played that scene very, very well, Gun. I felt it was really funny because I think we just before that we had some like kind of funny stuff, and then all of a sudden it was like really serious. So that's, I think that's interesting, and I think they're doing that well so far. There's this kind of weird, it's almost like an imbalance, but it's working. So yeah, let's go watch episode 2 and see where they take us.
Let's go.
Okay, so I'm hoping you feel the same way that I do. I started taking very comprehensive notes, and then about a third of the way in, I just stopped because I was dying for like the entire rest of the episode. This is so fucking cute. I was like kicking my feet and doing like silly girl stuff.
It is really cute. We're moving fast. There's a lot going on.
Wow.
I did not expect things to move this fast.
Yeah, I did not expect it either. As I said, I'm it's one of those things, I feel like it's going to surprise us, as I said, because of the script writer and things like that. I feel like we're going to get pleasantly surprised, which is good.
And also, like these trailers lately, they're pretty good at
Mm.
the new series
Mm.
because they show us stuff from the first several episodes. And then we know nothing. Maybe a little scene lost in the trailer that, is from something that's going to happen much later. But mostly we don't know what is going to happen. Or we have a very vague idea, but we have no idea how we'll get there.
Yeah,
So
well, it's
it's
interesting
better.
because of course the theories are that the girl is his
Yeah.
mother, right?
Hmm.
So I, it's so funny because like when we very first saw the pilot trailer, like the first, like, oh, we're making this, OffGun have a
Hmm.
new show trailer. Um, we were it was sort of like indicated that, but it also wasn't totally clear. And in this, I mean, Prem obviously when he sees the picture of the girl in the on Ten's Instagram, and then also when he says about he's making the food for someone special, blah 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 blah. Like he's thinking there's somebody else. Like that's what I'm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
He gets upset because he thinks someone else is present in John's life and he's doing a lot for that person.
yeah, and it's funny because like my initial thoughts on this was that she was dead or something. But what if she's not dead? What if she just left? Or maybe she's like something happened to her and she doesn't remember him anymore. Like maybe she's had, maybe like early Alzheimer's or like some sort of brain injury or something like that. And maybe she's hospitalized, institutionalized or something like that and doesn't remember him at all.
Oh, that would be so
And
sad.
so this idea of like trying to recreate something that might help like trigger her memory maybe, or it could be like amnesia even or something like that, because they do say foods and smells and music, like things can
Mhm.
trigger memories and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's or she just left for whatever reason, you know what I mean? It's like it's almost like he's got this idea that if he can recreate these memories or something, that like she'll come back or something. I don't know, it's definitely interesting. But the start of the episode like killed me because it starts off and he's having this like looks like a pleasant dream but it's kind of a nightmare, I guess, or at least a sad dream. But the thing that really got me was actually when he woke up and he had the metronome going in the background above his
Hmm.
bed, because I remembered I remembered reading something really random a really long time ago. Um, there was like a study or something that was done like in the 60s where it was like one person, like one single anxious person reported being able to fall asleep better after being like classically conditioned by hearing that noise. And so
Hmm.
it like basically um like trained them to be less anxious or whatever. And so I remember reading about it when I was studying, and the fact that he's studying to be a doctor. I I mean I could be off on this, but it's really interesting to me that if this is something that one of the script writers has read, or like if it's from the book or whatever, has read this same study, it's really interesting to me because it's almost like from his point of view, maybe he read it during his studies, like the character's point of view, I mean, and so he's thought it might help him with like his anxiety or something. Or maybe if something did happen to the mother and he had like kind of clearly he's got some sort of social issue. That's not really the right word, but we can touch on that in a minute. Um, where so something happened to trigger that like anxiety or whatever. So this may even have been like a suggestion, like maybe his father started doing it when he was really little, or like I don't know, like after the event or something like that. It was such an interesting thing, and I remembered reading this study and thinking, wow, like he's having these dreams, he's got this thing that's like conditioning him to like try to be able to sleep, be less anxious. And I was just like, wow, that's like super depressing. But yeah, so and the shaking hand, we were talking before just about the shaking hand from episode 1,
Hmm.
because of this idea that like he's been, potentially watching or aware of Prem for a really long time, but maybe it had more to do with his social anxiety, the shaking of the hand, but he
Mhm.
wanted to touch him.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like there's so much interesting stuff like in this episode. I was like, as I said, I kind of stopped taking notes because I was just like, I didn't want to like look down. I just wanted to keep, um, but I just, yeah, the metronome thing kind of killed me a little bit.
I thought maybe the taste. I didn't necessarily think that is something that happened to the mother, like that
Mm,
she is still alive.
mm,
My take on it, although it might be like that as well, but my take on it was that it helped him remember her, and it helped him get back into that headspace where he felt safe, that he felt that she was around, which is basically very similar because it's still,
yeah.
taste
Well,
reminding, helping you with, maintain a
memories.
memory or bring back a memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically the same thing, but like, yeah, kept to retain like for him. It was interesting too because as I said, I was having these thoughts, and then I really enjoyed the relationship between Tan and his friend. They had that whole scene where they were talking about, and he's saying, you have like no time, and
Mhm.
and he's saying, are you sure you don't just like him? And he's like, no,
Mhm.
no, no, but it has to be him. And he said, well, like, and because he said about her, and then so he
Yeah.
sort of said, well, why don't you look for the original thing? And so it's interesting that he put it that way. So then I thought, because my two sort of thought processes were, you know originally it was she's dead. The next one was at the beginning of this episode was maybe, as I said, something happened to her and she doesn't remember or like whatever. But then
Mhm.
also when he said that, I thought maybe she just left. Like, it's unfortunate, but parents leave sometimes. And so, like, I thought maybe that potentially also could have been him, like his friend saying, like, why not look for her? Because it seemed like he knew who the her was. And he did say later on as well, when he said to Prem about like he doesn't like to be touched or whatever. Um, he said, like his friends are aware of it. So they probably know, like, I guess all his secrets, or at least the one who he was talking to in that space, he like lives down the road or next door, so he's probably known him for like most of his life or something. Um,
I
but
feel like
he,
that memory from the place where he ate, like the restaurant, and he had that fried pork toast that makes
yeah,
you smile. This is how the episode is called as well.
mm,
Maybe that's the last good memory of his mother. Maybe it
yeah,
was her birthday, right? So maybe after that, this is the last good memory, and then something happened.
yeah, yeah. I wondered that too. Yeah, I think. I mean, I really liked how. I mean, it was very telling anyway. The way he kind of, when he went in, he said, "I'm going to go straight. I'm going to go to my table now," and he went straight to that table. That they would, or they had sat at that time.
Maybe they used to go there with the mother. Maybe that's
Yeah.
what they used to do. And then when the mother disappeared, the mother died, or whatever happened to have this, they stopped going there.
Mm.
And so that place, that taste, is bound to remind him of the mother or this
Happy
time they spent
memories.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that could have been a thing too. Like you're right. It could very well have been the last happy memory, or it could have been the start of a series of happy memories because he enjoyed the food there. So it might have been that when they went out to eat, that might have been a place that he asked to go, or like whatever. Or I think you're right. It probably was that incident that was a happy memory because um the fact that he kept that photo.
Mm-hmm.
Like um Prem kept the photo. He didn't realize the significance until the end of the episode, but he'd obviously kept
Mm-hmm.
the photo because for him, that particular moment was the moment that, like he realized you could make people happy and blah, 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 the lesson he'd
Yeah.
learned from his grandmother. And
Yeah.
so that was significant for him for that reason, whereas Tens obviously kept it for a different reason. But I love that whole scene in the restaurant. I knew you just I'm sorry, Gunn did such a good job in that scene where he's like strangled him with the with the bandana and everything. I was like, before he even did it, I knew he was gonna do it, but I still loved it. But you know what killed me was when was when 10 was peeking on him from inside the restaurant,
Yeah.
and then the animation of the hearts around
Uh-huh.
Prem. I was just like, well, if there was any doubt about whether or not he liked him, you can pretty much know from now that yes, he definitely
Mhm.
likes him. So
They like
whoever
each other.
whoever the
Yeah.
girl character is or whatever, she's not a love interest. But
Yep.
it's just, yeah, it's so interesting. And it's really interesting as well that, we get this reveal at the end of the episode, which I'm totally jumping all over the place here, but that's because I have no notes. We get this reveal at the end of the episode that he doesn't like to be touched or whatever. So he was triggered first by whatever. I don't know why. I think they were carrots or something with like the tops on them still. I don't really actually know what it was that the lady who had the vegetable stand like kind of like threw down on the table in front of him. Like that kind of
Mhm.
seemed to startle him and like trigger him a little bit. Um and then of course when Prem went to go and touch him, he freaked, and then
I
consequently
feel like
after that.
it's not liking getting touched by surprise,
Yeah, mate.
especially
Yeah, it's funny.
something because
Something,
he
yeah.
did hold his hand when they agreed on the deal, and like he's obviously, and he did attempt to give him the hand, like the trembling hand to be kissed,
I think
but
the thing
not
is
when
though,
he's yeah.
yeah. What I was going to say was, I think though, I feel like he was triggered by something in that moment. Something triggered him, because in
Hmm.
actual fact, I think I would need to watch the episode again, which I'm sure I'm going to do because as I said, I was kicking my feet. I was loving this shit.
Hmm.
It was so stinking cute. I was basically not paying enough attention, but I would like to go back and actually see. But I feel like they actually, besides the hand holding thing, that there was probably quite a bit of contact between the two of them. There was definitely,
Hmm.
he definitely held on to him when he was writing on his arm, writing his phone number on his arm. There was definitely a
Yeah.
lot of moments where he's done that, and as you said, he's initiated that, but still, even when he went to go and give him his hand, and we know he wanted to, there was still that like anxiety there or whatever. When he's with
And
Prem,
even in
he feels
episode one,
comfortable.
when Prem was asking him to speed out the food because he said it was not good enough, he did not react like this. But
Yeah,
yeah, something triggered him in that
moment.
place where they bought the vegetables. How was that called? I forgot. How's the place called, Zoe?
Market.
Market. Yeah, in the market, the splashing of the water. Something about
Yeah,
that just reminded
yeah,
him of something, and just
yeah.
he couldn't take it off.
Yeah, some sort of bad memory maybe or something. And I think the other thing is I think he's actually really comfortable with Prem. So there is a lot of touching going on between them that I feel like is going unnoticed. That's why Prem didn't realize it was an issue, because he's like, I think he
Hmm.
felt like he said, I've touched you a bunch of times,
Hmm.
um, because he's been comfortable, so it's not been an issue.
Hmm.
Seriously, I just love the way that when he looks at Prem, there's like hearts or like stars around him, and it's just like, it's so stinking cute, like seriously. And the bit when they're like messaging each other. Oh, the bit when he was like looking at all his photos on Instagram and he was like zooming right in. I was just like, oh my God, this is so cute. This boy is so gone. And then he accidentally liked the post. It's the funniest thing ever. We've all done that.
And
We've all been
also
there.
the fact that Prem posted the Tom
Yeah.
Kha Gai, right? Tom Kha
Yeah.
Gai, is that is how it's called? Um,
Something like that.
yeah, and he was like, not dog's food, but dog's food,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
shows that it was a very significant moment for him, and it mattered a lot, like, that he wanted to capture that moment and post it on Instagram.
Yeah.
And now
And
Ten
also,
knows that. Ten also felt the need to tell him that he is good.
I really loved that actually, because he obviously is paying attention, which is what we thought was happening anyway. And he when he says something or he does something, he's listening and he is paying attention. And that, I feel like that is like my biggest kink. Like with a pairing, is if they listen to each other and they pay attention.
What do you think about Dynamite and
I
Fire in this
I
episode?
I actually laughed a lot in their stuff because I kind of thought it was pretty funny. Like in the bit in the canteen where like Fire came in and he was just like having like losing his shit, and then they all look over to like see like what Dynamite has to say for himself, and he's like making a break for it. I thought that was funny, but what I actually thought was quite amusing is this, like this first appeared to be like a pursuing storyline, where one character kind of like harasses the other one until they fall in love with them
Yeah,
or whatever. But
yeah,
I actually think I have two opinions of it. The first thing that I thought was really funny is that, he is obviously pursuing Fire. Like he likes Fire. He's told him he likes him and everything. But I
yes,
did think it was funny in this scene that it was actually Fire who was chasing him. um
yeah,
and I
yeah.
also,
He's obsessed with him already. I feel like
I
he's
know,
more
right?
obsessed with
And I
Daniel than he is.
but I just
Maybe,
loved the
maybe it's a thing like for Kang in Dangerous Romance when, like, but his father did not have expectations from him. But I think Fire's mother has certain expectations from him, and
mm,
maybe he, even though he tries to break free, like when it comes to the most important things in life, like he thinks he has to go down the road that she chose for him,
mm.
which is learning to be a pharmacist and like being with a girl and everything. And now he's going to have issues with his mother when he begins to actually choose things for himself and not and
Mm.
be unapologetic about it.
I think as well the fact that, like he always has to be on his best behavior. He has to act a certain way with her. Whereas like with Dynamite, when he like yells at him or he says something like totally inappropriate or whatever, he's just like, oh yeah, I love it. Like he's not,
Mhm.
and he's a bit of
That's
a
true.
nutty. He's a bit of a nut job as well. Like I think Dynamite, because it was funny because it's, as I said, it seems like it's this like pursuing storyline, but I don't necessarily think it is exactly what people are anticipating it is,
Yeah.
because we
Hmm.
see a similar scene that where he does it with his when he does it with Unki, where he's just like, I'm gonna tell you a ghost story, and he's like, no, and he's chasing him around the house. Like I think there's just something like kind of a switch in his brain that's not quite wired properly, and he's just
Remember,
like,
I
this is
love.
amusing to him. Like he if he has a thought process, like there's not, he doesn't have like this like moral compass where he like stops and goes, should I do this? He's like, no, this is going to be really fun, and he just goes with it, and
I
he
think
is younger than all of them.
I think he's going to stop. I think he played with him because he felt there was something, there was some response.
Mm,
And but now he's starting to question it, and he's going to stop, and Fire will be like, what the fuck?
yeah,
Where is Dynamite? Why is he not chasing me? What the fuck is going on? And he's going to start looking for him, like
yeah, in
maybe
places, yeah,
Fire is
which
going
is
to start
basically what
chasing
he
him.
said would happen. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I really loved the bit though when when he was chasing him. Potentially there was a dead end, but he could have got away.
Dead
How
end.
he
Oh my
shut the
god,
door
I
and he's
wanted to
like,
bring that up.
"Oh no, it's a dead end. I can't possibly get away. What shall I do?" I just died laughing. I was like, "This is so funny." Like I kind of just wanted to high five him because that was so.
Hmm.
It was so hilarious. It was like an over dramatic damsel in distress, but not quite. Like it was just
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
funny,
yeah.
and I love his friends like betting on whether or not he's gonna get a smack. It's just like I actually really like the friendship groups. As I said, I really enjoyed the scenes with Ten and his friends, and I just yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I just I smile
They
like
made a point. Yeah.
my cheeks are sore because I was like grinning for pretty much like the entire hour.
They made a point of accentuating the fact that they are not over, like they're not going to force Pram to share about his personal life. Like, okay, we were playing with you, but we're going to share what you want. We're not going to.
I loved
I
that
don't
whole
remember
scene
what
though, like
exactly
when they were
happened.
like,
Yeah,
call him back now, call him,"
yeah.
because
They
it's
were
like
so excited for him.
it
They were
was
ready
so
to hype him up. Yes.
yeah, it was so real though. Like I mean, like that's if you have friends like that like you know you can be yourself with, and they like have fun giving you shit or whatever, and you know, like something like that happens, you're all like, ah, everybody's teasing, it's all lots of fun. And it's like when the phone stopped ringing and he's like, oh, sorry, because like they didn't mean for that to happen. They wanted him to like have the phone conversation and everything, but it was just a fun moment of teasing him, you know. And then
Mhm.
just, yeah, them, as you said, hyping him up and just like revving him up and everything was so cute. And then how they were just like, you'll tell us, like, you know, when you're ready, you'll tell us. And I just thought that was so cute.
Yeah. I also thought it was hilarious how they made it so clear that Ten had to taste the evil when Prem
Oh,
cooked the food
the animation
that
on
he made.
this, I
Yeah,
like,
it was so like
the,
he is tasting the evil.
but not
He
only
can
that, it
taste
was
the evil.
when he first did it, and it, you know, it went all dark, and there were like these things that kind of looked like ghosts, or it was like his
Huh?
soul was leaving his body. And I was just like, it was really funny when they first started doing the animation in the first episode. I was like, oh, this is interesting. It's kind of, I'm thinking, is it gonna get old? But I feel like if they keep doing, like, this is a different level. I loved this.
Mhm.
The bit with the hearts just like really got me. Like, I'm enjoying this. I can't wait for more animation bits, which is really funny. But the bit, yeah, the
I
bit where he
thought,
tasted the evil, for sure, that's a good way to put it.
yeah, I thought the way his sister, the scene with his sister was quite intense. The
Yeah.
way she looked at him, I think it scared him. It looked like he got scared. And I was like, oh my God, this is like a potential thing for more dramatic storyline because the way she looked, that was really intense. Or maybe Gon played it so well that it freaked me out. Do you
I
remember?
think it's easy as well. Like the bit like when he was comforting her and he was like, you know, what's the matter, butt face and all that. I mean, it was so sibling coded. Do you know what I mean? And I felt like um it's a moment that I could imagine having with my sister. And so,
Mhm.
you know, I felt like that could, you know, I mean, he's a really good actor anyway, but it could also be because she is his sister. It's easy to play that, you know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know if I trust her character just yet. Like, I don't know. Her story seemed a bit like, I don't know. But
Yeah, I don't know.
he's
Yeah.
he's willing to risk it all for her, basically, which is, of course, you know, interesting.
it
But
does it does sound like something else is going to happen. They
yeah,
got over it too easy and something is going to happen again and she's going to ask for money again.
well, I mean, it's interesting because in the was it the trailer? There's something about 200,000 baht or something. So whether or not that got transferred to him from 10 or whether that's now more money that's needed, I don't know. But he's like, he seems surprised but not necessarily in a bad way when he saw that. I have to watch the trailer again. But oh, there was just so many things that I really liked. As you said, with the, I want to go back to the animation where it was like tasting the evil, because I feel like that's going to be the name for this episode, tasting the evil. Because yeah, it was totally like there was like his soul had left his body. But what I loved about it is when he came out of the animation and he looked at Prem, like Prem was
Mhm.
like looking at him and like blinking and stuff, like,
Mhm.
and there was just these like stars around him and like it was all like
Yeah,
blurry and romantic looking, and it's like he's like he couldn't believe that his like perfect like
perfect.
Prem
Yeah,
has
would
had
do something like
was
this
like
to you.
messing with him in this way. Like I love how he's just like he asked. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he was just like he knew he was being
Uh-huh.
sabotaged. Um, but the other bit I really loved is when they made their deal to do the cooking stuff. Was it before then? I think it was before then. Like when he first rang him to say like that he wanted to see him the next day or whatever, and 10 was in bed and his phone rang. He's like, oh, who's ringing me at this type of hour? First off, I have to say that Off just looks like really hot. I feel like it's not me if I haven't commented on how hot the boys are. He just looks very fine. But the way when he's like, who is this kind of thing? And Prem was like, you know, it's, you know, the cute little chef or whatever he says to him. And the way he like kind of like swallowed and like adjusted his glasses, like he got all flustered. It was so fucking cute. I was like, oh my God. Off John Paul, I've not seen you play this role and I'm just like living for it right now.
I like how when they were watching the Super Monster Chef thing,
Yeah.
they were wearing fan T-shirts,
Oh
like
yeah.
with the print on them. Yeah, and so they keep teasing that character, and I'm really excited for him to appear. Actually, I'm not a fan of love triangles, but I am excited for him to appear and stir things up. I'm curious. I want to see Prem being all starstruck and
Well, I think as
see
well,
the repercussions of that.
yeah, I think as well, if we have, like, if he has this misunderstanding about like what's going on with 10, like if he thinks that there's like someone else, then he's
Mhm.
not, he's obviously going to keep getting shaken, because we see like next week is the episode with the ears, which I'm like can't wait for.
Yeah, but
But
also he starts avoiding him. He starts keeping his distance, something that he didn't care about at
yeah,
first.
he's
But now,
very
as he
aware
knows,
of it. That's right.
yeah,
And you'll notice
it
though
feels,
that as I said, 10 is like leaning into him. 10 is like he's comfortable and he's not thinking about that, but now Prem is very aware of it.
yeah, but he did that. He said that, and it's like he drew a line between them, and maybe he's not aware of how much Prem thought about it and how much weight he put into all
Yeah.
that happened. So he drew a certain conclusion and
Yeah.
decided that he needs to keep his distance to
Yeah.
take care of himself and his heart.
Yeah,
And
well
so
that's right.
now
This
he's going
this
to
is
start chasing him.
Yeah, and this is what's going to happen, isn't it? Because he, as you said, he's put a line between them, because one, he doesn't want to make him uncomfortable, so he doesn't want to touch him in a way that will make him uncomfortable, and also he thinks that there's someone else. So he's still going to get shaken, because clearly they're already having feelings, but like he might get distracted by this other guy for sure, because he doesn't know that it's a thing. And then of course, obviously, like that is when uh 10 will get jealous, and Prem's going to be like, I didn't know. Like that
Yeah.
scene that's in the trailer where it looks like he's drunk and he's all like leaning on him and everything. That's going to be like because how in oh the significance of how in each other's space they are in that scene,
Hmm.
now that we know that like about 10 and his issues, like that's just, and I keep saying
And
issues,
considering
I
that
don't
it
want.
probably happens sometimes at the beginning because they won't really show us stuff from the latest episodes, and
Mm,
usually, as we were talking from the new trailers, they show things from the first several episodes so that you don't know what happens next. So I guess
mm,
it will happen pretty soon.
mm.
So I'm curious. Yeah.
But yeah, I keep saying Ten's issues, and I don't really mean issues. I feel like might I might be walking into a minefield wording it that way. I just It's like 4 a.m. here and I can't think of the right word I want to use. But his what's the word I should be using here? Meryl's like, I can't help you.
Mm,
Yeah, it's not an issue. It's like,
I don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Let's move on. We'll think about it later. But
Yeah,
he
I'm
also,
gonna call it issue for now, and but please don't get offended by it. um,
I like how I'm curious to know when he was sending messages. Like every time he's like, "I don't want to bother you. Okay, I'm gonna bother you." On the second time, he was considering sending good night. I wonder, is this like the Fandina kind of good night, or
uh,
is it not?
I'm
Because
sure
there was no
Twitter
one
will
read
tell
this
us.
out loud. I
Yeah,
hope so, because I'm very curious what kind
yeah,
of good night that was.
yeah. Otherwise, I might have to try and find that scene and like screenshot it and just ask Papa Go, my translation app. I'm like, what exactly was he saying here? Give me
And
the
I also loved how they mentioned that you must cook in a good mood and with love.
yes, with
So
happiness,
this is
with
the first
love.
step. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is the first step so that the food is tasty.
yeah,
Which is again why Prem's food will be tasty, because it brings him happiness to the idea that he can make other people happy through his cooking, which is like the best motivation
yeah. Oh,
as a cook can have.
yeah, I remember what I wanted to say now, because we were talking about the cooking show and you were bringing up
Yeah.
the guy who's going to come in. I loved what they did with the cooking show. It made me laugh so hard. I thought it was like the best joke ever, because if anyone has ever watched a reality program and they're revealing the winner or the finalist or who's going through to next week, it takes a year and a half. It's like, and they're just going, and is, and they just kept saying the word is in like Thai, like about
Mhm,
5
mhm.
times.
Like
Is,
filming a kiss in a Korean dramas from
yeah.
10 different angles.
That's right. And then finally it was revealed that it was him for like the 290 something time, which is just hilariously like unrealistic. It's like, at this point, is it a competition? Like, are you just bringing other chefs on here to like humiliate them? Like, what is this show that they're watching? But yeah, so I was like thoroughly amused by that whole like reveal scene of the show and everything.
Also, ultimately, Prem did not just ask Ten, agree to teach Ten to scam him. He needed the money for his sister. And he was unsure. I mean, he asked, is it too much? He was
Yeah,
unsure. And just went with it. He said it was okay.
yeah.
And he,
Well,
as per his talk with his friends, he does not intend to ask for more. This is
no,
not
well,
his
that's right. They were
intention.
like, yeah, you could have asked for more, and he's like, well, no, like he was doing it for, as you said, for a very specific reason. And I love as
As
well
the
how he was,
trailer, the first trailer made it look like he was scamming him, like he was using him for money.
yes,
But right now, the situation looks completely different.
and that's obviously what the father's going to think as well. Because it looks like, that's what I said in the trailer. It looks like Ten gives him more money for
Mm-hmm.
whatever reason, and so obviously that he hasn't asked for. So but the thing that with that is and everything is, yeah, he got paid, but he's taking it very seriously. Like the bit we saw in the trailer is like he's making different foods for him to try because he wants to know what he wants
Yeah.
to learn next, and like he's really like investing time in, you know teaching
Yeah.
him.
Mm-hmm.
And even though he has like, he's starting to have these like budding little feels and stuff, he knows, potentially there's somebody else, and Ten doesn't like to be touched. He's being very conscientious about like how he's
Yeah.
teaching him these things, and like, you know um making sure that he feels comfortable, and so like he's like, as far.
The way he gave him the spoon, like so that they don't touch. Maybe it's
Yes,
also the
yeah.
correct way to give the spoon, but yeah, he's very aware and he's very considerate
Yeah,
and
he's about as
professional.
far he's about as far away from like taking advantage of him as he possibly can be, which I thought was
Yeah.
really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, like when it comes to that point when Ten's father sort of like says whatever he says to Prem, and either drives him away or upsets or hurts him enough to like for it to be an issue between them, or for him to start feeling, because I feel like he'll probably, if when that happens, he is going to feel like he took advantage of him, because like he, especially if he finds out like whatever the story is with the mother, or whatever, like whatever the story is, he's going to feel bad about it later on anyway, because like that is clearly like there's a big thing that's happened there, and so like he's kind of used that insecurity and like need, desire, whatever, against him a little bit. So once he's got like full on feelings, he's going to feel like he used him a little bit anyway, even though he like actually hasn't. They're basically doing goods for services essentially. And so
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna like back away, or he's gonna do whatever, and I feel like Tanner's gonna be so fucking mad because he is not gonna see it like that at all. I mean, he was like, it makes me wonder if he would have, like, if Prem hadn't had gone to him and changed his mind, whether or not he would have just kept showing up again in
I feel
different
like
ways.
it will make him very, very mad with his dad, but
Oh,
he won't be mad with Pram. He will
oh, no,
be
no, he's gonna
very
be
soft with
pissed.
them.
Yeah, he's gonna be pissed at his
Yeah.
dad. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's where you're gonna get even more conflicts between them as well, I think. So, but yeah, no, I can't wait now for next week again, and I'm just like, I'm so happy at the moment. I feel like really like
I'm getting more and more excited, a bit upset about the fact that not everyone has access to the full version.
It is
So
very
like
disappointing. Yeah, it's
it
very
would have helped with the trending and with everything, and it just messes things up.
yeah. And it's
But
I feel like it's going to be so good. I feel like it's going to be so good. And cuz I'm kind of curious to see what bits out of this episode were cut out, like the bits that we've seen, like that people who watch the YouTube version haven't seen, because it makes me wonder, depending on what they've cut out, like I can't picture anything that you could have cut out from tonight's episode that wasn't sort of pretty much fairly important to the storyline.
yeah, well, I'm going to
They're
watch it
all
because
great.
I'm really curious. I'm also really curious to watch it till the end and go back and watch. I mean, all the series, all the episodes, and go back to watch it on YouTube as well to see. Because I just there's it's going to be a completely different story.
Yeah, it's going to be different. It is, and I feel like there might be some instances, because, as I said, with the fire dynamite scene, like at face value, it looks like a pursuant story, but I don't actually think it's not a strict one to me. I feel like it's just, he's just a weird guy. Dynamite's just a weird guy. As you
Thick
say,
skin, thick
fire,
skinned guy, thick
yeah,
skin, thick
yeah,
skinned guy.
thick skin, yeah. And I feel like he has no kind of filter, I guess, and because he's young, like
Yeah,
he skipped year 12, went straight to university, like he is younger than all of them, and he maybe, because he's smart as well. Like I find that like a lot of like really intelligent people are a little bit cuckoo for Cocoa Pops. Like they just he hasn't, maybe he didn't socialize properly when he was young or something, because he was like, because he's really smart or whatever. And he's only just, got friends now at university, or whatever. We'll
mhm.
just see if we get any more backstory from him. But
But he is in the weird friends group, like the eternal student, Prem, and him. They're all very different people, and they found each other. I
yeah,
don't know what to say about Prem. Prem might be a bit marginalized because he has like he is from this business. He comes from a background of cooking, and people might be threatened
yeah,
by him.
yeah. And also, probably when he first got there, he was like super serious and ready to go. And like it took 3 years for that sort of part of the university to kick in. Whereas like most
Yeah,
people, when they get to university, they're like serious and ready to go and party. Whereas, like he would have gone there wanting to be fairly serious, I feel like, because, his grandmother's invested in him. That's how he's looking at it. She's invested her time, her effort, and her money in making him, a chef. And so he would have taken that
that's
very
yeah,
seriously.
that and also the fact that sometimes some people, like when you decide what you're going to do from a little age, you're very much focused on that and you don't really care about other stuff, and you become really, really good in your field, but
Mm,
you a bit disregard the other stuff because you know you're not going to need that. People who don't really know what they want to do with their lives, and that are like excel in different subjects, they don't necessarily excel in life because
yeah.
their attention is scattered. But he
Yeah.
knew what he wanted to do, and the first years of the university were clearly not really focused on cooking because this is a first class. Like there's a reason they mentioned math. He was not good at math.
Yeah.
That was not something that interested him. That was not something he invested time into. This is what he likes. This is what he does. And
Mm,
so maybe this first years knocked the confidence a bit out of him because he had to do things that weren't really connected to what he has to do. And sometimes uni does that to you
yeah.
because it's weird.
Yeah. No,
And
I
you
think so.
sometimes lose passion for the stuff that you actually love after going through uni.
Well,
So
I mean, look at Unki. Like, what did he say he did? Like accounting, something else, and then now cooking.
Yeah, 9 years.
So funny. He was like me at university, nursing, Bachelor of Arts, language, Bachelor of Languages. I'm just like accounting diploma. My mom's like, "Are you just gonna study forever?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm enrolled in the School of Life. Leave me alone." But yeah, so I felt him a lot, except I did actually finish things, although I didn't finish everything, but I did finish things. But some people just like learning, do you know what I mean? And what I really liked about their friendship group as well is, I don't know if you noticed that when like Prem went outside to have his private little like moment with Ten, he let himself back in like with a key. So that's obviously Unki's place, because obviously he's an adult. Like he's an actual adult who has an apartment that they hang
Mhm.
out at, and it looks like he's given them keys, which is like the cutest thing ever, so they can come and go as
Mhm.
they please. Which I feel like might be something that factors into the storyline later on when he like needs to get away or like whatever. So but I just thought it was a really cute like friendship note, you know.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
and then yeah, the bit, as I said, we were talking about the Prashurant relationship thing, yeah, and we were talking about the aspects of um Dynamite, but also, as I said, we said before, like you said, like Fire has these like expectations heaped up on him, and so he doesn't really know what he wants, or him and 10 are probably friends because they are in similar situations, because they're from different departments. Actually, all three of them are from different departments, which is really interesting. So
Mhm.
obviously, I'm assuming, I don't know what the grey smock is like, so I don't know what and I do not remember this friend's name, the fried a crumb fried pork ball or whatever friend. He is always wearing that like grey shirt smock thing. So I don't know what faculty that represents, but it's clearly
Mhm.
not either of the faculties that they're, but him and Ten are friends because they, like I said, they're neighbors. They've probably known each other since they were little kids. And
Mhm.
by extension, you've then also got Fire is friends with him because they're both friends with Ten essentially. But it's interesting because even though Ten and Fire are from different departments, they're probably in the same building or like same rough area, because like the pharmacist school or pharmacology, I don't actually know what the department would be called, and the medicine department would probably be in the same sort of area, but they have the same, I feel like they have the same parenting to a certain extent, like this idea of, you must do this, he must be a pharmacist, uh 10 must be a doctor, um and so on and so forth. So they have that in common. But the other thing I really thought was super cute was how they both say, like, it took for ages for them to actually introduce each other and give each other their actual names. Um but then I really liked how they decided to keep calling each other Chef and Dog.
Interesting. Why did you like that?
I don't know. I just thought it was cute. Like, it's a cute thing, it's like, I guess, like when you're a couple, like sometimes you call your significant other like a cute name or whatever. Like I can see them, when they become a couple, still referring to each other as, doc or chef or like whatever, like when they're talking to each other.
We'll see. Actually, I will be waiting for them to address each other by name in this
Yeah.
series. I feel like it will be during some intimate moments, or like when
I
they try to get to each other, to get through to each other, you know?
Yeah, I feel like when there's trauma, the names will potentially come out.
Yeah.
They may not though as well. They may stick to these, like, I guess what I feel will become like loving kind of endearments to one another. So that may also be a way to get through. So it'll just depend. Um
Yeah.
so it'll be interesting to see. I'm like I'm like I'm totally here for the trauma, but I'm also like I'm totally loving this like sweet adorableness that's happening right now. And I feel like next week is going to be really cute as well, but also kind of we're going to get to see a little bit more confusion and stuff, because Oh, especially the bit with the ears. I'm so looking forward to the bit with the ears because Prem is so like, what the fuck in that moment.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's definitely interesting.
Cannot wait.
Me too.
So I guess this is it.
Yes.
Thanks for hanging out with us. Follow us on Twitter and Tumblr, send us messages, interact with us. See you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.